In order to be a leader, you must be confident, impartial, and empathetic. Not everyone possesses the qualities it takes to lead others. I'm your host, Destiny Mitchell, and on today's show, we will talk with the mayor of Lancaster about his background, views on his current position, and the importance of becoming an active member in the community. All that and more on Leaders of Lancaster. Government officials run our entire country. There are many positions in government, such as the president that runs the entire country, all the way down to mayors who run our individual communities. The entire system combines and works together to keep our country running. Have you ever wondered who specifically is running our community? Here with us on Leaders of Lancaster is Mayor Austin DeVinny. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you having me.
So what is it like to be the mayor of Lancaster?
Well, first it's an honor and a privilege. I serve at the pleasure of all of the people of our city. So I'm really the only city official that represents all people, not just individual districts. So it's been a wonderful experience. You know, it's real boots on the ground kind of work. We want to make sure the toilet's flushed, the water runs, people are secure in their homes. So just a lot of the service-oriented things for the city of Lancaster. But it's a wonderful city. It's a wonderful place to be, and as I said, it's been an honor and a privilege to serve.
So, are you a Lancaster native?
No, I moved here in 1988 when my wife and I were looking for a place to raise our family, or have a family. We hoped at that time. Had a job. I found a job here, and came to work with Robert Folks and Maureen Corey and Jim Hodges and Brooks Goldsmith at the time, and in their law firm, and just started getting involved in the community as soon as we got here, and just hadn't looked back since.
What specifically made you fall in love with Lancaster?
Well, the opportunity. Honestly, I mean, it gave me an opportunity to earn a living in a good place with good folks, and it just had a lot of the things that we were looking for. I grew up in an area that didn't have a lot of recreational opportunities or sports and that sort of thing. So Lancaster had all of that. It was central. Lancaster is the center of this whole region, really. It's the business center, it's the government center, and just good folks, very similar to my background. I worked for J.P. Stevens in a mill in Piedmont, and I just knew the people and just felt right at home as soon as we got here.
So what are some things that you as the mayor does for the city?
Well, I serve with a council, so we have, in government circles, you call it a weak mayor system, so I don't have any specific duties other than to chair the meetings. But because I represent all of the people of Lancaster, I get a chance to speak and kind of bring balance for all of the people, whatever their interest may be. So my duty is to chair the meetings, to be a representative of the city, been involved in some economic development things as the representative for the city, specifically E.J. Gallo, our dealings with Nutramax, and some other businesses that have come to. I'm sort of the point person just because I do, you know, I serve in a representative capacity.
So like the spokesperson for the people that live here? Sure,
and it's partly, you know, it's partly about marketing and image. You want a very positive image, a business-friendly image, a place that, an image that's about confidence and security, and I certainly have tried my best to bring that to the table.
So, what responsibilities fall upon you?
Well, again, I take the broad view. You know, I try to take the broadest view to make sure that all ideas, all issues are represented, including looking out for the employees of our city. I mean, this city wouldn't work except for the employees and folks that we have that do the day-to-day operations. So have a responsibility to them as the chief elected official, as I do to people who have interest in business. The residences all have little different needs and it's to balance those needs and to be try to build consensus among the council, because council with me calls the shots on how we direct policy, but the day-to-day operation is done by the leadership team for the city, and I think that's the way it should be. I'm very much, we set policy, we set the law, we set the budget, but then we depend on and expect our employees to fulfill that to serve the people of Lancaster.
So is being mayor your full-time job?
No, it's not. I'm continue to practice as a lawyer. My law firm is Folks and Devaney. Again, been here since 1988. We do a broad range of legal services. The mayor, there is a stipend that goes with serving as mayor, but it's pretty limited for the time spent. But my full-time job is to, I've got 8 or 6 employees at any given time, so I have to earn a living and earn their pay as well as my pay. So that is my full-time job, is continuing to be a lawyer.
This is also is it your full-time job? So what things do you do outside of being a mayor and I guess a lawyer?
Well, being a lawyer, and of course, we have our own lawyer for the city, of course, that's Mitch Norrell, but that's an experience because I have actually served as the lawyer for the city of Lancaster. I've served as the lawyer for the city of Chester. I have that experience to work with business people, developers, personnel managers, municipal law issues. I've got the training and the experience to know what I'm doing. And you hear the facts from people, and then you apply those facts to the law, which is what I do every day in law. So that's because I've got that experience and have served in so many public capacities over the last 34 years. I just think it brings an experience to be very helpful as a mayor.
Is being the mayor something you personally enjoy?
I do, and I think I enjoy it the most because it serves people. I'm a huge believer in representative democracy. I want people's voices to be heard. But the practical side of community is how do you do those things that make the world a better place? Cities got together originally for security, to provide sewer and water, provide a place for business. Lancaster still does those things every single day, and we're doing it well. We're growing. Our commercial sector there's very little commercial real estate available that's not filled with businesses already. So that's the sort of thing I want to do to keep expanding that community. We're a more diverse, more integrated community today than we've ever been. I think that's a wonderful thing, and I think Lancaster and I think the people in Lancaster are better for it.
Well, that's all the time we have for this segment. When we come back, we'll discuss what it's like to be the mayor of this town. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
Ins and outs is Mayor Austin Devaney. Welcome back.
Thank you so much.
So what things made you qualified to become the leader of this town?
Well, first is the interest in my community. As soon as I got here years ago, I started serving on the City Planning Commission, then represented the city, then got involved in the Joint Planning Commission, served on County Council, served as chairman of County Council. But really, my academic background is I was an urban studies major out of Furman, and of course went to law school. So all of those things have helped me be prepared to do the tasks to fulfill the needs of the people of this community. I serve, as I've mentioned, I serve at the pleasure of the people, and I try to fulfill the duties and the promises of that position.
So what are the requirements for running for mayor?
Well, the requirements, you have to be, I think you have to be 18 and registered to vote. Oh. But I think the needs and the experience really are what people are looking for. having the business background, I run my own business, employ people every day. I know what it's like to try to earn enough to pay the folks that are working for you and pay your taxes, and very aware of what the needs of the people are. You know, the city is really a corporation. They call them actually municipal corporations. So I try to approach it as if it is a business sector or a business entity. And certain parts of the business entity are like provision of sewer. It's very much dollars in, dollars out. Provision of solid waste, disposal. Those are dollars in, dollars out. And you try to do that as efficiently and cost effectively as possible.
So even though you're only required to be 18, do you think that age plays a factor in like getting elected?
Sure. You know, I think the people of this community are looking for people with experience. And you know, some understanding of the business world and how things work. You look at past mayors, most had small businesses, insurance agents. One was a dentist years ago. Henry Johnson, a businessman. So over the years, you see people that bring different skills to being a mayor. But I think people are looking for someone that's open, someone that understands business, someone that can get along with everybody. And I certainly try to fill that role.
Well, is a law degree required to run for office?
No, not at all. But again, the training I've received in law and in really my undergraduate degree was very much driven by urban studies. Is how do you make urban areas or how do you make communities better? And I'm a big infrastructure guy. I love the idea that you invest in infrastructure, specifically sewer, specifically water. Roads, to some extent, we don't really control the dollars for roads. The state and the county does more than the city does. But if you have those things done and encourage building of affordable housing, you want to create a situation of, you know, that the basic needs of people are met, but give them the freedom to then use their money, use their time to live the life they want to live. And so you're trying to create a framework of freedom within your home and in your community so that you can kind of, you know, live your own life, but working in cooperation together, like fire protection, police protection. Those are things that all of us must contribute to in order to, you know, have a great place to live.
How important is someone's background when they plan on running for any position in government?
Well, I think it's very important, but I think also that it's important to, you know, be trained, but it's also important to be an advocate. You want people to have interest, who've had some experience, who kind of know the people. You end up, you know, sometimes in this world you get somebody that hadn't been around for a while, said it was better somewhere else, we need to do that here. That's good to hear, but you need to be in the community, working in the community to hear what the community wants instead of just imposing your ideas on others.
Yeah. I also think that your background should be like clean, especially today with social media and like posting everything. Yeah,
I'm not, I don't do a lot of social media. I don't really care to understand it. Dave Chappelle said, "Why do I want to read a bathroom wall all day?" And I think that's kind of the right approach. You know, being out and having real experiences with your neighbors, seeing what their kids, you know, what do they need in terms of recreation? What do we need in terms of security in our neighborhood? But you know, we have to talk to our experts too. When the fire folks come to us to say, look, we need to expand. One of the reasons we need to expand is we have the lowest insurance rates around because we have something called an ISO rating of a 1. Well, that's only possible because we have a professional force ready to go 24 hours a day, and we have to have facilities that make that work. So Yeah, you're right. You have to you have to know your own stuff, and you have to talk to people, listen to them. But you also have to depend on those with expertise, particularly in the police field, in the fire field, in emergency services field, water and sewer, street, all of those things. The men and women running that for the city, they've got expertise that I don't have, but I can say this is the need, and then they can say how to fulfill that need. So again, I don't think any politician should be a micromanager. I think we should set broad policy. We bring the needs of the people to our professional staff so that those needs can be met. And I don't think you shouldn't micromanage and try to run your professional employees, day to day. Let them do the job. Hire good people, get out of their way, let them do the job. That's very much my philosophy about that.
What are some characteristics that the mayor should possess?
Openness, the ability to hear what others have to say, the ability to judge what's being said. I put my cell number on every piece of campaign literature I do. I'm willing to listen and hear what people have to say, but I also have the judgment not to overreact when people may be upset about one thing when in fact they don't know all the facts and that sort that. So having openness, yes, but also having judgment to gather facts, weigh those facts, and make decisions. Every decision I make is in the public realm. Every decision I make about the city, I stand before the people, I cast my vote, I tell my reasoning for it, and I'm very comfortable in, particularly when it comes to the budget. It's like, it's not my money, it's y'all's money. You got a right to see where every dime goes. We publish our budget on the website, so if you want to see what gets spent on shirts at the water and sewer district, or cleaning fluid at the wherever, or bullets, or whatever you want to see, it's in the budget. You can see it. So I very much believe in open government. Reese Funderburk, who was a mayor right when I first got here, that I remember sitting at lunch with him when I first got here and talking about openness in budgeting. And I think that's a great thing that the internet allows us to do. It allows you to put it all out there. Go look at it if you want to see where your money's being spent.
Well, that's all the time we have for this segment. We'll be right back to discuss how you can become for mayor. Here with us to discuss ways that you can help out your community is Mayor Austin Devaney. Welcome back.
Thank you again.
So where do you see Lancaster in 5 years?
I see Lancaster in 5 years as a much bigger place, a lot of new people moving in. I looked at our numbers last night in terms of new construction for residencies. We had over almost $20 million in new residential permits alone. We had another almost $8 million in business permits alone, and that's building permits. So that's building that's going on right now or being completed. So I think the growth is going to be a huge factor for Lancaster. I've heard about it for years, and of course when I was on county council we saw what was happening in Indian Land and the incredible investment there. That's happening here. We've had more houses built here in the last 3 years than we've had built here in the last 50 years. We've had more annexations, in other words, getting more property into the city than we've had in the last 50 years. It's good stuff. It brings new people in, new ideas. It allows people to expand their ideas or their dreams about where do I want my family to be, but it also gives people options here that they haven't had in a long time. So I think the 5 years is going to be residents first. Then when the people are here, that drives smaller businesses, entrepreneurial business, and it also brings some of the national guys in, as we've seen with Circle K that just came in the last year or so. So yeah, I see it in a growth pattern. I think we're in the catbird seat because we have sewer. We have the capacity to treat sewer. That's a huge, huge deal. We've got employment coming. E.J. Gallo's coming. It's only coming because Lancaster was able to provide sewer to E.J. Gallo. Dornis, new business here. So we're having opportunities come. And again, we're working in cooperation with the county, Lancaster County Water and Sewer. So I see us in a growth mode for the next 5 years. Regardless, even if the general economy slows down a little bit, I think Lancaster is going to be in a growth mode as long as we keep doing what we're doing right now.
How can the community help to see these goals and visions become a reality?
Well, we need to hear from folks. A while back we did some focus groups to hear what people wanted in the downtown area. You know, the downtown area is just one small sector of the business community. The greater business community is very healthy. There's very little commercial capacity available because it's all being filled with businesses right now. But I think the biggest thing is let people say, what is your need? Sometimes that need is very specific. We need more police here because people are speeding on our road, for instance. But then often it's also broader. I'm very much a person who's looking for those broad things that we need to do. Sewer is a huge piece of that. We've been blessed to have a sewer capacity that's greater than our need for a long time. But that's not going to remain so. So we're preparing now for those needs, not for the next 5 years, but realistically for the next 50 years. Those are the sorts of things but we need to hear from people about what their specific needs are, while at the same time we're addressing these broader needs, general needs, long-term needs.
What is the importance of voting within your community?
Well, again, as I said earlier, I'm very much a believer of representative democracy, which means that you elect people who can hear your needs, but then have the time, have the expertise then to implement the things that need to be done. Voting is important because it allows, number one, the power that any politician has is derived from the consent of the people. When the people consent to allow someone to serve them, as they have for me, it gives you a responsibility, and it also gives you a power to then do these things, sign contracts, think about sewer capacity, think about what are our business needs. So voting is the thing that gives the power by consent to the political people like myself to then do what the people are asking to be done. You remember, we also have varying and broad interests. For every person that wants us to spend $1 million on a park, there's just as many people who say, I want our taxes less than I want our taxes to go down $1 million. So you have to balance all of those interests, and I really believe that I've been able to bring that balance, that fairness, and that equity to the equation.
Do you feel that the younger population's vote matters?
I certainly do. And their voice matters, and their understanding of how different the world is matters. Until about 3 years ago, Tamara Green and I were the only two politicians in Lancaster County that had actually been through all integrated schools. So a lot of people on county council and city council had never gone to school with black and white kids since first grade. Where I grew up, we were integrated 66, so my first grade on. So those experiences, and why I'm saying that is those experiences give a much broader and better picture to the way the world is than people who haven't had those experiences. Technology, the need for broadband. We're spending every dime we can through the state and through the ARPA funds or the federal funds to try to expand broadband capacity here so that people can use the tools that they now use every day. Retail, used to be you go to a store, you go through 30 things and find the thing you want. Retail has completely changed. You go on your computer, see the exact thing you want, you buy it and it's shipped from wherever. So all of those things, we need the perspective of young people to say, this is a little bit different. You don't quite see it the way it is, you're seeing it the way it was. And I think young people's involvement in voting make a huge difference. You know, they're in flux, sometimes they're not in the community as long, or they're going to school. But again, we have to hear from the next generation. But part of our responsibility is to give opportunity, and I'm very much driven by that on housing, that on decent jobs and educational opportunities. So yeah, I think it's very important.
So is there anything else you'd like to tell us today?
Well, the main thing I'd like to say, Destiny, is thank you so much for having me and allowing me to speak to you and to the television audience. I am running for re-election. I think good things are happening here. The last 4 years have been tough in a lot of ways, particularly with COVID. I think it's been very hard on young people through school, as well as creating some isolation in the community. But we seem to be, at least in a way that we can handle that now. We've got vaccines and that sort of thing. But I just want to thank you, and certainly thank you for the opportunity to be here with you today.
Yeah, I say thank you for allowing me to interview you.
Thank you.
And that's all the time we have for today. If you have any comments or suggestions, please email us at learntv.k12.sc.us. You can also watch us at Comporium Cable Channel 114. Our YouTube channel, just search Learn TV Lancaster. I'm your host, Destiny Mitchell. Thanks for watching Leaders of Lancaster.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.